Hi, I'm Yashwant. Welcome to the YASWANTH PALAGHAT show. The theme of our today's episode, the most interesting robotics. So we will be talking about careers in robotics. So for today's episode, we have a guest with us. Is Jubin Priyansh, co-founder at Black Coffee Robotics. Hi, Jubin. I'm privileged to have you here. How are you doing?
All right, Yashwant, thanks for having me. Really glad to be on your show.
Great, great. So I just introduced you as a co-founder at Black Coffee Robotics. Can you introduce more about yourself?
Sure, sure. So basically, I am a roboticist and an entrepreneur. Uh, for the past couple of years, I've been running this company called Black Coffee Robotics. We are a robotics consultancy, and yeah, that's basically about me. I build robots, I build companies, and now yeah, other things too.
Great, great, great. So what made you to choose robotics as your career?
Right. So ever since my school days, I had been interested in building things. I had been really interested in hacking electronics, making circuit boards, things like that. So that was something always at the back of my mind. But I had read a couple of books of Stephen Hawking. I got really into physics, and I thought maybe that is my calling. So that's why I joined IIT Guwahati as a physics graduate, BTech physics. So
Okay.
yeah, but coming to college, I realized, okay, maybe this is not really what I want to do, and I was also fascinated by what like all the robotics activities that were happening in my college. So yeah, I started getting into that. I was a part of the robotics club in my college. I did a couple of internships during my college period in robotics, and I realized I can turn this into a career. This is what I really want to do. Post that, I joined a company that made software for drones. I was working there for a year. Then I joined another company that made industrial robots. Uh,
Okay.
Basically in that company, one of my colleagues, he and I, we were working together for a couple of years, and we decided, okay, we can have a lot more impact than just working in this company. What we can do is, we can go out there and start something of our own. And yeah, that's how Black Coffee Robotics came to be. And yeah, it's been 2 years since then that we've been
Okay.
working here.
Great. So, like,
Yeah.
how many years since then, like, you passed out from your college?
Right. I passed out in 2016.
Okay.
I passed out in
Great.
2016. Yeah. So it's been like 5 years.
Great. So, like, glad to hear that you founded the Black Coffee Robotics. Can you talk more about what it do actually?
Sure, sure. Robotics is actually a really nascent field, and it has been like emerging. There are a lot of companies coming up. There's a lot of investment coming in for robotics companies, but there was definitely a lack of talent and lack of experienced people in the market who can basically solve problems that these startups and these companies they require to build a product. So that is where like we come in. We have experience working deploying actual robots in the industry, deploying me and my co-founder, like we have like a vast array of experience, like different types of experience in robotics. Specifically, he has worked with humanoids, has worked with manipulators, he has worked with mobile robots. I've worked with drones and mobile robots. So basically, and we have seen through product cycles, we have seen actually right from the ideation phase to the finished stage, we have seen those product cycles. And that is something really valuable for other companies, other startups. And also these startups, they don't really have a lot of capital, and they can't really spend a lot of time or money in the initial years setting up an engineering team. So that's where we come in. What we do is we help them build the software. We help them with other aspects too, consultancy in hardware, consultancy with let's say setting up supply chains for their products. So yeah, that's what we are. We are a robotics consultancy. And
Okay.
we work with like wide array of like different types of robot. For example, like currently I'm working with a company that's deploying a fleet of boats, autonomous boats, ocean for like ocean floor surveying. So yeah,
Okay.
that's one of the things that we've done. We've worked with drones in this we've worked with a drone company before. Maybe I'll give you another couple of examples of the types of people that we've
Sure.
worked with, just to give you an idea of what these robots I'm talking
Mm.
about. What are these robots actually doing? One of the initial companies that we worked with, dealt with making autonomous industrial cleaning robots. So
Oh.
you might have seen these machines in airports and railway stations where a person is riding and cleaning. Uh, it's basically a cleaning machine, right? So this company was making an autonomous version of that. So yeah, we helped them right from the ideation phase. We helped them build the software for it. Another company that we worked with deals with basically industrial sortation robots. So you have a lot of robots working. You might have seen videos of that. Basically,
Yeah.
a lot of robots working in a warehouse sorting packages. So
Yeah.
basically, e-commerce for e-commerce. Then we have also worked with intralogistics companies where you have like plant manufacturing plants and things have to be moved from like one place to another, like really heavy payloads, stuff like that. So yeah, that is the kind of work that Black Coffee Robotics is doing.
Cool. Cool. So like, are you currently operating only in India?
No, so most so like currently most of our work is outside India,
Okay.
because just for the fact that the robotics industry is more mature, especially in the US. So that's where but yeah, we do have plans in India too.
Cool. So it's nice to hear like what actually Black Coffee Robotics do. So like if someone want to start their career in robotics, so whether it might be a student or the one who is new to the industry, so what roadmap can you suggest them?
Sure, sure. I mean, they could follow what I did, right?
Yeah.
I'll maybe talk more about my journey, right? In college itself, I realized since and this is like common for a lot of engineering students, especially in India, right? The course that they are studying might not be really relevant to the career that they want to take up, or they might not be getting a lot of skills. In fact, like when we try to hire for our company, when we see the profiles of people, they sometimes, like, some people lack in those practical skills, hands-on. They've not done hands-on work, right? So that is like the primary thing that I would suggest for people. If you're interested in robotics, start figuring out how to get hands-on experience. If you have a robotics club in your, like, in your initial years, if you have a robotics club in your college, just get associated with that club. uh, Try to look out for internships, for summer internships. Try to work either in academia or with companies. There are a lot of startups in India who are working in robotics. Try to contact them, get in touch with them, network on LinkedIn, whatever, and get in touch with them. Try to figure out how to work with them, or get in touch with labs, robotics labs in India or outside India, and try to get an internship there or remote work, whatever. Like, trying to get hours, like multiple hours under your belt, would really help, rather than just doing courses. But saying that, you can also do, this is like assuming your course structure is not really relevant to robotics, right? So what you can do is you can do online courses. There are a lot of online portals like Coursera, edX, MIT, right? You can take up students can take up certain online courses. So that is like another thing that they can do. So post their also, like, if their college has a very specific robotics program, that is obviously something that they can do. Post that, what they can do is, there are two options. One is, you can go for a master's, you can go for higher studies, and try to apply for a master's. There are a few universities in India, and a lot of companies abroad, a lot of universities abroad too, that offer a master's if they want to go into academia. So robotics, you have an option to go into academia, a lot of research happening. So you can go for a master's, then maybe a PhD, or after a master's you can take up a job abroad, or come back to India, do a job here. Or just after college, you can join any of the startups or any of the companies working in robotics, and basically get some experience. You still have options open, right? You still can go for a master's, or yeah. So those are like two options that they can do. And obviously, I mean, you can start a company, you can start a robotics company and manufacture our own robotics work, right? You make your own
Yeah.
work and you do it. That's what you can do.
Great. So while talking about myths and realities of robotics, so personally what I feel is one thing, in general people who are new to the robotics will thought that robotics are all about humanoid robots and all the stuff. If they watch movies like Terminator, and they feel
Right.
like robots just people who resembles a human and acts like a robot. But later,
Yeah.
like, I realized that robotics are not just meant for humanoid things. So anything that can automate a task which human can do will be called as a robot. So similarly, what are all the myths and realities of robotics that I mean you are frequently hearing about?
Right. I mean, the point that you talked about, it's actually quite. At least people who are not from a tech background or who are not in this field, yeah, they do think that's what a robot is, and yeah, it's a it's a myth, or maybe it's a perception that's been formed through like by watching a lot of science fiction movies and all, reading science fiction books, and in fact that science fiction also drives I mean to a part like how robotics turn out, like it serves an inspiration, right? So that is one thing. So yeah, but I wouldn't go into a lot of philosophy in this thing. Basically, yeah, right. That is not just robotics. There are a lot of other applications of robotics, and I mean, some of the things that you might call machines, me as a roboticist will call it a robot, and like in the future, in fact, it might be possible like robots increasingly start looking like humans, or maybe not, right? You can call it depends on like how things evolve. Like that is one thing. One of the myths, like talking about like more myths, one of the myths that we hear is it's also concerning, is like robots might take away people's job, right? And
Yeah.
I have like a optimistic view on it. I just take like analogy of what happened, let's say with internet. For example, let's say you talk about someone who was maybe in the 80s, right? And you have a time machine, you bring him today, and you talk about like kind of jobs that are available, right? Like we are talking here, this is a job. You're hosting a podcast, things like that. He couldn't really have imagined what a Play Store is, what an App Store is. There are whole companies making apps, because he doesn't know what internet is, what a device, what like smartphones are, right? So with just taking an analogy of this with these when you have these niche technologies, new technologies and promising technologies, you can't really estimate what sort of impact they'll have, what sort of new jobs they'll create, what sort of they can open up whole new ecosystems of uh, I a complete like jobs that you can't really imagine. So that is one of the myth, and yeah, that's what I like. That's how I think about it. That's the optimistic view I hold. Like people, at least like maybe 50 years down the line, 60 years down the line, you don't know what sort of jobs or what sort of ecosystems will be created by the kind of work that we are doing right now. Yeah, what it will
Yeah.
transform into.
True. Like I like your analogy of internet. So initially, no one would have thought like internet would create so many jobs. Like
Yeah,
even
the
we are
whole
sitting now.
economies are
Yeah.
built on. Yeah, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you. I mean, whole economies are built on top of like they're contributing. Internet is contributing like a major chunk of jobs and economic impact. Like it has had a really positive impact. So that's my optimistic view. That's why I'm bullish on robotics. Yes.
Very true. Very true. So, like, if we can watch movies like Interstellar or Terminator, like we have been witnessing robotics doing all the tasks, which even not imaginary. So, how close we are in achieving those into the reality?
Right. I mean, first of all, let's talk of what is happening right now. Robots very much have entered mainstream. You might not realize it, but a lot of products that you have been using it, a robot might have touched it, or robot might have helped in manufacturing it. Uh, Things like manufacturing cars and automobiles. Robots have been doing that for a long time, like for decades now. But even in e-commerce and I was talking about like we use like we work with companies that make robots for sortation and things like that, and it's already prevalent, right? Companies are already using robots for at least. So this is one thing, right? Businesses are using robots today, and at least in the US, there are a lot of companies who have started, for example, outdoor deliveries for outdoor food deliveries, or lawn mowing robots and things like that, right? These things are already there. Coming to robots in the home, right? Things like robot assistants and all. uh, the first step is like you have at least one robot in your house, like that's the first step. And for in some countries that's already the case. Even in India, that has started. People have started buying like small mops, robotic mops and robotics cleaning equipment, and at least like I know of companies who have been working on, for example, cooking robots, basically chef robots. That is one thing. So yeah, this is the way, like this is the way that robots will start penetrating our life. They'll come in as functional robots. That's the first step. uh, Solving problems that even humans can't solve, or going into dull. So basically robots initially were for like, you talk about, robots can do dull, dirty and dangerous work, right? So there are already
Yeah.
robots doing it. For example, if you want to explore the surface of Mars or colonize Mars, you'll need robots for that. So that is the next step, right? That is the next step, solving basically like extra human problems, superhuman problems, sorry, things like that. That is the next step of robots. Robots entering a house, and doing functional tasks. That was the first step. Now coming, so as robotics is evolving, also one other field is evolving is AI. So it's a close cousin of robotics, right? AI also, we are sort of moving towards a more intelligent AI, artificial general intelligence, things like that. That will obviously have a big impact on the progress of this field in general. And once robots basically will be physical manifestations of the AI, right? They'll be the
Yep.
physical arm of those AI. So that is a direction like things will move in, like without going too much in details, or or talking about sci-fi. But yeah, that's the practical roadmap of robotics in general for the coming few decades. Yeah.
Okay. Like, which countries do you think are top performers in, I mean, implementing effective robotics? So, like, I know Japan is, I mean, the topping the charts when coming to it. So, what do you think, according to you?
Yeah, I mean, just the sheer number of companies and startups. I
Okay.
would say like, United States.
Okay.
That's where I would say is. I mean, that's the topmost country in my opinion right now.
Okay.
Japan also, and there's a lot of good work happening in Europe too. Some companies,
Okay.
especially Denmark. Denmark, there's a robotics hub in Odense, Denmark, and Germany also. Like there are companies in Germany.
Great. Cool. So, while talking about careers in robotics, how optimistic it is.
How optimistic? I mean, I am in the field. Like I'm a believer,
Okay.
obviously. So I
Yeah.
I see it as a never going field. In fact, there is a strong demand of roboticists in this country, in the world. Of That's what I realize. Like it's tough for me to hire people. I would say that. So that says a lot,
Yep.
right? That is one thing. And yeah, it can only grow. I'm seeing a lot of investments flowing in to startups in India too, right? A lot of companies are raising money. That means they're growing. New companies are forming, and the ecosystem looks really healthy. And even through COVID, I've seen companies they survived the downturn, and things are looking good. So yeah.
Yeah. But like there is a demand for robotics, but similarly there is a shortage of, I mean, the talented people
Short,
too.
Shortage, yeah, there's definitely a shortage of talented people. Talented, and by talented I mean people who have
Yeah.
the right kind of experience, or who have right, just because, like for example, in India, right, there's no, at least since the past couple of years, when I was doing my bachelor's, there weren't a lot of universities who had a formal robotics bachelor's course, right? They had like standard electronics, mechatronics, things like that, right? And the only way to gain experience is by doing internships, by doing by working in a company, or maybe going out for a master's, or going to, or having a master's. Doing a master's in India with a robotics specialization. So that is changing, and and also students and student groups are realizing, right, that doing like impactful work is really important to hone their skills in robotics. So that is changing. And robotics in itself, like it is a vast field. So there's no one. So I would say, like for example, so maybe like even with other fields, I think it's a case with other fields. There are a lot of subfields in robotics too.
Yeah.
You could have a mechanical engineering background, and you could be working on the hardware aspect of it. You could have an electronics background. You work on like specifically the electronics part of it, and Obviously software plays a big role, maybe because my work is primarily in software. So yeah, that's the thing, right? So there are like many subfields, and you could, pick one field, and even the type of robots. You could be working on ground robots, you could be working on drones, and yeah, just hone your skill in that. And so there are a lot of opportunities.
Good, it's a good one. So your final advice to people wants to get into this field?
Right. I mean, most of the things I have covered in my previous answers, right?
Yeah.
If you are really passionate about robotics, and a- and like one advice I would say is, even when I started out in robotics, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. For example, in the initial years, I thought I would do a master's and maybe go into academia. That was one thing that I planned to do. But I realized maybe I'm better off working in the industry, because that appealed to me a lot. And then when I started working in the industry, I thought maybe starting my own company is something more exciting to me. And even like the decisions that I am taking with the company, and working with different types of robots rather than working on a single product, things like that, right? So let your passion sort of drive you into this. Obviously, keep keep abreast of what is happening in the field per se. Go join there are a lot of forums. Specifically, there are a lot of niches in robotics itself, right? And there are a lot of forums associated with that. Participate in those forums. Maybe start contributing to open source if you are in the software domain, right? Contribute to these open source projects. And once you start doing that, you will get in touch with really good people. You start networking with really good people, and you'll also get an idea of what is happening in this field, what is happening in robotics as a field, right? And
Yeah.
you'll get ideas of what you can pursue. You'll get ideas of what is the next step that I should take. And yeah, just keep flexible. Uh, you can look out for opportunities, and whatever opportunities that you get, grab them and go forward in them.
Great, Jupin. So we have got some valuable information. So like if an individual makes a video, I think it won't be much informative. But talking with people like you who are into this field, who are starting a company, who have already started a company and established a robotic founder, so I think it really creates an impact to the audience. So thanks again for having here and giving your wonderful insights.
Yeah, Yashwant, it was great talking to you. Thanks for providing me this platform, and reaching out to people. It's always good to uh, help other people too, right? Whatever my learning is, again, like as you said, if you were a single person talking to a mic, right, it would have a
Yeah.
different impact. And similarly, like if I talk about something, and if I come onto a platform that has viewers, obviously the impact is multiplied. So yeah, thanks for that.
True, true. Thanks again. And thanks everyone for watching this video. So if you like this video and if you find it really insightful, please share it to your network and let others know about it. Thanks again.